Hey, loves, welcome to another episode of the Thrive Like a Mother podcast. And as you can see, we have a very special guest on today. Her name is Audrey Rose. First of all, y'all, this woman, so powerful. She's a registered nurse, holistic life coach, and somatic healer. She's also the founder of the Rise Sisterhood and the host of a top ranked podcast, Ready to Rise. And y'all, Audrey, she's all about helping high achieving women learn how to regulate their nervous systems and reconnect with their true happiness without losing the ambition. If that has not said enough to you already, like why we need her on the podcast today, why you need to listen
Oh, thank
in,
you.
get cozy and just get ready because she's about to pour so much wisdom into
Oh,
y'all. Gosh, I literally cannot wait.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much. It's so cool. I know. I love this. I'm like, now you've been on my podcast, I'm on yours. This is so fun.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And I know today we're talking all about nervous system regulation, which I
Yeah.
know, first of all, I have a lot of women listening and I have a lot of mamas. And
Yeah.
when I tell you it
Yeah.
is difficult for us to learn how to regulate our nervous
Yeah.
systems, especially after having children and,
Mm.
becoming something new. So I'm just grateful for
Yeah.
you today because
Yeah.
we need all of the tips, all of the learnings, like just everything.
Yeah.
So I want you to just share a little bit about yourself, like what season of life you're currently in, what you're working on, share all of that.
Right now, I'm like, where, that question you're always like, where do I want to start? Um,
Yes, yeah.
so I am a registered nurse, and that's really how I got into this was I had probably 8 or almost 9 years ago now, I had my whole healing journey, and that's, what ended up leading me to starting the podcast and all that, and we met like at the events
Yes.
and all of those things. And I was like heavy into the personal development and like the mind stuff, like the mindset stuff.
Yes.
And then it's like the journey was happening and I was doing really good and I had like felt like I had really found myself again. I was like just thriving,
Yeah.
right? And
Yes.
then out of nowhere, just like everybody has a pandemic story, the pandemic
Mm.
hit and it was like it knocked me off my feet. Like I really
Yeah.
just working as a nurse during that time just I mean overwhelmed me and I didn't
Yeah.
even know it at the time. I thought like, I'm good. I'm going to work all this overtime. At the time, it was just me and my dog, here. And so
Yeah.
I had nothing to worry about. I was like, as long as she's fed and, gets out, we're good. I can work my butt off because there were so many other nurses who couldn't. They had like young
Mm.
kids at home or elderly parents
Yes.
they were taking care of. And it was a really scary time. And so I was like, it's just me. I'll just be really careful and I'll isolate at home and
Yep.
work. And I remember my mom telling me, she's like, you are going to burn out. And I was like, no, 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 I'm not. I'm fine. I'm going to be fine. And
Yeah.
sure enough, like 3 years into the pandemic, when it started to slow down a little bit, I hit a
Mhm.
huge burnout. I mean,
Mm.
I ended up, so I was basically in charge of a unit that was all about COVID
Okay. Oof.
and that was a lot. I was like one of the
Yeah, that's
main lead
intense.
nurses. Yeah, it was intense. I mean, I was constantly talking to like the doctors about things. And as things change, it
Mhm.
was like I just kind of kept up with everything because I was there so much. I was
Yeah.
on the phone with like our, what do you call it? It's called CDPH for short. It's like the public health of California here.
Okay.
And just
Yep.
to like learn the things, for our specific unit. And there was just so much happening, right? So eventually, when that unit closed down, and then we only had a little bit of cases of that, left, and it kind of went back to normal, like it
Yeah.
would throughout the hospital, that kind of thing. I took a 3 month sabbatical, and I was like,
Oh,
'cause something is wrong with me. Something is super
yeah.
wrong, and
Something's
it was
off.
obviously the grief and all of that stuff. Like there was a lot to think about, and a lot to process, but my nervous system was shot. I mean.
Mm.
I couldn't even handle the regular things of life at that point because I was so
Mm.
shot. Like the bills were piling up, whatever. Like, how you have all the things you got to do. You got to make appointments for this and you got to
Yeah.
get the oil changed on the car,
Yes.
whatever, right? All of
Yeah.
that was building up and I couldn't do any of it. So at first I just thought, okay, it's because I need to work out and it's because I need to push harder. Like everybody,
Yeah.
we all think that,
Yeah.
right? Like it's because I'm so bad. Like I need to do more. I'm just such a bad person. And I didn't know that I was actually it's basically just nervous system dysregulation. And it was very
Mm.
specifically called functional freeze, where you
Yes.
can function and you can go to work and you can do certain things and you can show up and on the outside you look fine. People aren't going to
Yeah.
notice. Like at the grocery
Yeah.
store, you're cool. You still look like you're crushing life. But on the inside, you are so completely shut down that you're neglecting
Oof.
yourself. You're just not. Most days I wasn't even getting off the couch. I was canceling
Oh man.
plans,
Yeah.
sitting there just doom scrolling on my phone. And then you look up and you're like, wait, how did it get dark already?
Yeah. What
Um,
happened? Gosh.
so that is my story. And it just, it ended up leading me to like figuring out how do I lean in to learning about the nervous system? Like as a nurse, you already
Yes.
know, like I'm trained in so much already, but I'm not trained
Yeah.
in the more holistic tools, right? Because by the time they
Yeah.
come to me in the hospital, people are really sick.
Hmm.
So I was like, let me just lean into the nervous system. It's clearly a nervous system problem. I can tell, like, I know, about the vagus nerve and I know about these different
Yes.
symptoms and the different parts of our nervous system. So really leaning in to nervous system regulation. And so, yeah, here I am today teaching it.
Yes. Amazing. And I want to jump
Long story
literally
long.
right into that because that's
Yeah.
perfect. I know there's a lot of women listening into this right now that they've maybe heard the term nervous system at some point in their life, but they don't know like what that means. Can you give like some examples of how that can show up in your body, knowing that you're dysregulated? I think that's what you said, like nervous
Yeah.
to yeah.
Yeah. So dysregulation. So I'll give kind of like the short backstory because I'm one of those people who I'm like, I want to know a little bit of why.
Yeah. Yep.
So we have a bunch of, there's different parts of the nervous system, of course. It's like our brain, it's our
Yes.
spinal cord, but out on the like extremities, like out at, to our
Mm-hmm.
hands, to our toes, all of that, it's like called the peripheral nervous system. And there's part
Okay.
of it called the autonomic, which really just automatically does our responses for fight or flight, which we've all heard of,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yep.
there's the other part of it called rest and digest, which is the
Okay.
parasympathetic nervous system. And that's when you feel fully relaxed when you're in that state. You're like, you
Yeah.
can watch a movie on the couch and you're not stressed about like what's happening everywhere else. Like you're fully
Yeah.
able to relax. But that flip side, that fight or flight response, it's really like a primal response that we have in our brain to keep us safe. Like from the
Yeah.
caveman days when there's
Yeah.
a tiger,
Mm-hmm.
and it sends all of that cortisol and all the other hormones and the whole stress response so that we
Oof.
can outrun the tiger, get
Yeah.
food, survive really. Like
Yeah.
puts us into like this
Gosh.
full on survival mode to keep us safe. Nowadays, we're not running from tigers, right?
Yeah. Where's the danger?
Yeah, but the danger is like our body hasn't evolved as
Mm.
quickly as our world around us.
Mm-hmm.
So we sense danger almost everywhere. Driving in a car and you see the car
Yes.
coming to a stop sign and you're like, are they going to stop? And even though
Mm-hmm.
we know, we like out on the outside, we know like we're good. Our
Yeah.
brain, our primal part of our brain is just like, whoa, that's a huge danger. Or like,
Yeah.
not another email. Or like, why is your boss calling you? That's so
Yes.
scary.
Like,
That feeling, or like, or with kids, like I can only imagine like all of the amounts
yes.
of things that your brain is constantly scanning for threats all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it adds up, like, because every time that your brain thinks that there's a little bit of, if something that we can say is a threat, it sends you into a little bit of fight or flight, or it starts
Mm.
that stress response. Even if you don't feel like it, it's doing this
Yeah.
for you.
Oof.
And so over time, those all add up. And every time that we get into these chronic stress and then we don't complete, there's like a whole, I won't go into it because it's way too
Okay.
like long, but there's a whole stress response that
Yeah.
happens in your body and it needs to be
Wow.
completed. And when
Yeah.
it's not completed, your body thinks that it starts to kind of live in that state. And then it just
That's
builds up
scary.
over time. So that's when it starts to look like, the symptoms of dysregulation that can be different for everybody. But
Yeah.
it's really like you don't feel like yourself is probably like the biggest, first
Mm-hmm.
sign. But then it
Yeah.
goes into things really start to pile up because we can't handle them. We can't keep up with things we used to be able to keep up with. You're
Yeah.
not making, you might still be making like appointments for the kids or, cooking dinner for them, but you'll notice that for you, you stop working out. You stop,
Mm-hmm.
paying attention to yourself. You might not be making appointments for you. You're trying to like
Yes.
cut a lot of corners in life because you're
Mm-hmm.
so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
For me, and I think a lot of the women that I see, it's like very much about the doom scrolling lately. That's been a
Yes.
huge topic coming up is like
Yes.
we're so overwhelmed that it's
Mm-hmm.
just a really easy escape. And
Yeah.
we sit, disassociate. You can disassociate in other ways, like sitting
Yes.
in your car, you're at Target, you're like, I can't even
Yeah.
go in or I can't go in the house yet. Like, I got to sit here for like 10 minutes and just do nothing.
Yeah. Oof.
So, all it is just your nervous system is so kind of overwhelmed that it's hitting that big like red
It's
button,
like a
like the big
wall.
shut off
Yeah. It's like,
button.
hey, no, we cannot do anything else.
It's like stop everything. I
Yeah.
can't handle any more input. And it kind of just shuts it down for you. And that's why you might not even notice. Like you
Mm.
can maybe pick your phone up and then a lot of times, even for me, it's just like I just grab Instagram and I'm, an hour later, like, wait, why am I
Yeah.
still looking at this? And so
Yeah. What did
it's
I come on
nothing.
here for?
Yeah. And so
Jeez.
that's like what ends up happening is just like our body just kind of does it for us.
Oh, that is scary too. And yeah, not noticing you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm fine, but your body
We
is
think we're
clearly
fine.
giving you signs that we're not. So let's talk about someone who may be listening to this right now. They're like, oh
Mhm.
my gosh, Audrey, that's me. They're like, I'm doing the doom scrolling, I'm sitting in
Yeah.
my car, I'm needing to have the moments. What can they start with when they are sitting in those moments? What is an alternate option for them to start to regulate themselves again?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to say, and I know that like ChatGPT keeps putting this on everybody's stuff on
Hmm.
Instagram, so I know I'm a broken record because I see everyone talking about this, but you're not broken. Like
Mm, yeah.
everybody has to know, like, you are not broken because we as women will go
Hmm.
right into beating ourselves up. So,
Yeah.
I think that's like number one is when you catch that, just know, like, this is so natural in today's world to get overwhelmed and it's cool. You can still handle, and that's the other thing is as high achieving women, it's like even
Hmm.
worse because we're used to like, we do all the
Yeah.
things. And
Yeah.
so then all of a sudden you're like, wait, why can't I handle everything?
Yeah.
And we're used to being that woman. And so then it's like almost embarrassing on the inside, on the very deep inside. You might
Yeah.
not even
You
like
get the
tell your husband,
shame.
right?
You're like, I don't know what's going on, but I
Yeah.
feel like doing absolutely nothing.
Yep. And then it's like, "Dang, I don't want anybody to know about this." But it's okay. Like it really is okay. And the thing with quick plug, like the thing with the nervous system regulation is once you're coming from a more regulated place, you can
Hmm.
do all the things because you're going to
Yeah,
have the bandwidth, right? So like that's why I like
exactly.
always tell women, I'm like, I'm not going to make you slow down and I'm not going to tell you to take more off your plate. Like you can do it, but we
Mm,
just got to regulate. So to the
yeah.
woman who's like just caught herself, like that's the first thing. The second thing is take a breath. And I know like that's
Mhm.
like that annoying response because it's like, "Oh, what do you mean? Just stand here and just take a breath." But really,
Yes.
yep, that
Yeah.
rest and digest, that other side of that fight or flight stress response, the other side
Hmm.
of that is really controlled by this huge nerve in our body. It's massive. I'm like getting so lit up because it's just really cool. And it's called the vagus nerve. And
Yes.
we can actually stimulate that nerve. It runs right through our
Wow.
diaphragm. And it's just the cool because I've like seen it. So I'm like lighting up because like as gross as that is,
Yeah.
I won't go into details, but like I've seen all of this and it's huge. And our diaphragm can like rub it and like
Mm,
stimulate it with
that's
breath.
amazing.
It's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like there's a few tools that I use that are like the best, which we can get into in a minute, but that's the
Yes.
first one is like take some deep breaths, box
Yeah.
breathing if you can.
Hmm. Yes. My goodness. I just shared that in Cook Like a Mother because,
Good. It's so important.
yeah, it's important to just know like when all the things, even if you're sitting in the kitchen and you're like,
Yeah.
this is too much, I don't want to do
Yeah.
anything else, like just take a breath, take a
Yeah.
moment.
Take a moment and you'll
Yes,
reset.
exactly. All right, so let's get into, we talked about box breathing. Let's get
Yeah.
into some more practices that they can start implementing like today, right now, even if they're feeling
Yes.
it.
Oh, okay. So I have three that I teach, like inside the Rise Sisterhood and just in
Hmm.
general. Like I have three that I
Okay.
stick to because there are tons of tools out there. The
Yes.
thing is, you can go to YouTube and you can get
Hmm.
so many of them for free nowadays.
Yeah.
But there are certain tools that are really proven that, like, they have gone through some studies. And it's
Hmm.
really cool. Like places like Harvard and there's a couple other like universities who have done studies. And
Yes.
so we do have research that certain tools are really helpful. So
Yes.
breathing is absolutely a huge one. Like I was saying, it'll shift you into that state. It's really cool because it can directly like affect that, nerve.
Yes.
And there's tons of different types of breathing, and I won't get into it now, but yeah, do your simple box breathing. And then in the sisterhood, every single month I lead them through a whole breathwork practice so that we can
Oh.
like get into it. And we do a couple different ones. Another really cool tool that I love is EFT tapping, which I
Mm.
feel like people have heard about
Yes.
it, but haven't really done it yet.
Yes.
Because I think that we tend to think like, how is this like just tapping
Yeah.
on
How does this
how
happen?
does that help? And especially as like a high, like an analytical woman, we're just kind of like, wait, what? I don't know. It feels kind of woo. It's like, does this work?
Yeah.
But it's called emotional freedom technique, and it's here
Mm.
to kind of like help you get rid of a lot of the blocks. Like in ancient Chinese medicine, they think that, there's these different meridians, different kind of bundles,
Yes.
and our energy can get stuck in them. And so that's why they
Mm.
do acupuncture to like move the energy through.
Yes.
And so that, they've done that for, I mean, thousands and thousands of years. But now there's new kind of way is with even less tools, without needles,
Yes.
just tapping on the places. And
Yeah.
it's so cool. They have done studies on this and it's showing that I forget the time frame, but it lowers your cortisol like basically immediately. Like it
Wow.
literally reduces your cortisol so quick. So when you feel yourself stressed out, that's another really good one is just tapping. And there's a
Yeah.
whole sequence and there's, you do affirmations as you tap on the spots. There's a whole way that it happens. We say certain kind of negative things and we bring out the emotion and then we
Yes.
move into the positive. So when you're first learning, you probably do want to do it with somebody, but you can get to that point where you can just do it on your own. Like like at
Yes.
the traffic light, you're just like,
Yeah.
okay.
Just take a second.
Yeah.
Sitting in the parking lot at Target, just like, okay.
So
Yep.
easy.
I need
Yeah,
a
it's
second.
so good. And then the third thing that I am obsessed with, save the best for last, is sound healing. And sound healing
Oh,
used like way back when on my, first
yes.
kind of journey. And now I'm certified in sound healing. And it's
Oh,
just like, God, I love it so much. Like, it just can, I don't know, it's like as soon as you start to hear the bulls,
mm,
like sing, if you will,
yeah. Yes.
it just like relaxes you immediately. And I was like looking it up. I'm like, what are the studies on this? Because like I'm a little bit
Hmm.
of a science girly. I'm like, what is happening? And really it's helping your brain waves just because of the
Yes.
sound. Like the sound is giving you kind of like nature's rhythm, I guess, and so
Hmm.
the sound can go right in and get you into a meditative brainwave state. So there's a couple of different
Yes.
brainwaves. I won't go into it, but yeah, so it can like literally mimic those brainwaves and you will like mirror that and so it
That's
brings you into this
amazing.
meditative state without and the coolest thing is like this is the somatic work because it's our
Hmm.
body work, right?
Yes.
For so long as a woman who's like analytical and
Hmm.
overthinking and all of that, I was like, give me the book to heal this
Yeah.
and I will read it and I will
Same.
do all the things. Yeah. And I think what's really cool is like I noticed for me that that wasn't working, right? Like the books weren't helping and my 30-step morning routine and my green smoothie like they're
Yeah.
great, but they weren't helping.
Yeah. They're not getting
And
to the core
not
of
getting to
what's
the
going on.
core. And so the somatic healing, what's really cool is that you don't even have to do anything. Like you don't have to
Wow.
even think. Like you
Yeah.
just show up to a sound bath and let the
That's
vibrations do their
amazing.
thing. Or you
Yeah.
just follow along with a breathwork instructor and you just like, do the breath work. And so
Yeah.
I'm just like truly obsessed with teaching these now and then
Yes.
just doing them myself. It's so funny. The last I think it was last month in the sisterhood, I became obsessed with the breath work that I did for them.
Yeah.
And so like everything comes in videos. It's like a Netflix, it's like a Netflix for your nervous system. And so anyways, like I literally rewatched that video so many times, like almost every day
Wow.
for myself. And I was like, I'm the one that like facilitated this, but it is so good. We can't get enough. It is quick,
Gosh.
quick tools.
Yeah, especially when you think of like, I think when I first started kind of my healing practice, the first thing I went to was meditation, and it was
Mm,
really difficult for me to get into it. And then
yeah,
I realized that any
yeah.
type of like sound healing worked better for me because,
Do
I could just
anything.
be there
Yeah.
listening to the
How was
ocean or bowls or like whatever.
How was your first sound healing? I'm really curious. I would love to hear because were you
It's
like thinking or trying to like what am I supposed to be doing or having any of those kind of
Yeah,
thoughts?
I think at the
Mhm.
beginning I was like, okay, am I supposed to be doing anything right here? But then at some point, like the sound, the frequencies,
Yeah.
they hit you and you don't have to think anymore. You don't have to think about the to-do list.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about the appointments. You just be for a
Or
second
like
and
suck you in.
it's
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
I had the
Yeah.
same thing. So I was like really curious about your
Yeah.
experience. Like, yeah.
Yes. Goodness. Okay. So let's talk to the mama who we talked about the mama who maybe recognizes that she's in this right now. What about the mama who feels like she's too far gone? Regulation is like one of those things that she doesn't have time for. I know we're out there.
Yeah.
Let's talk to that mama.
All right. I forget the quote. I'll have to look this up and like paste it on my laptop. There's a quote why am I blanking? You know Kimora Lee Simmons, who like had the
Yes.
clothing line?
Yes.
What's her husband's name? Richard, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes. I
I'm
remember
like,
his.
yeah. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, how embarrassing. But anyways, he is super into meditation, super into
Okay.
meditation, which I never knew. And I had watched
Yeah.
this documentary and he was like he was in it for like a minute. And he said, he was just like, if you think that you don't have time to,
Mm.
meditate was his thing, but to any of these tools,
Yes.
that means you need to take twice as long out of your day to
Mm.
do the thing, to
Wow.
do this practice.
Yeah.
Because when we think we don't have time for this is because we are so overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
There's too much going on. What happens is if you've ever had one of those days where there's so much going on, but it's pulling you in a bunch of different directions, right? You might have
Yes.
a few
Yeah.
kids. You might be, and it's like hard because you have to switch back and forth between tasks
Yeah, the
quickly.
hats. Oof.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And we think we're really good at it. And we are
Hmm.
because we're women, so like let's be honest. But
Yes.
it still is really hard to shift, and we're getting our attention pulled in many directions. When you
Yeah.
start your day, especially if you start your day, but at any point of the day, start your day with like a regulation practice, and it can be
Mm.
short.
Hmm.
That's going to help you to be able to have like the bandwidth really to
Yes.
go in these different to do the different things. Your nervous system, like this is a new analogy. I've never spoken about it like this before, but it's almost, I want to say like a rubber band even, right?
Hmm.
We're
Yeah.
supposed to be able to stretch open to the stressful
Hmm.
situation. That's regulation.
Yeah.
We want to be able to get activated, get stressed, and then we want to
Yes.
come back and relax. And so throughout the day, that's happening so many times to us, right? To
Yeah.
keep it toned, to keep like that rubber band from snapping,
Hmm.
that's your nervous system regulation practices, your breath work, your
Wow.
sound healing, all of that. So do those things so that you can keep stretching, you know?
Yeah.
So to the woman who's like,
Yes.
I'm like way too far
Yeah.
gone, girl, you better sit down right now
Yes. Sit
and do some box
down.
breathing.
You need it the
Because trust me,
most.
yeah. Because what
Yes.
happens is then if we don't practice this and if we don't like take the time now, we will
Hmm.
end up in that functional freeze state like I
Hmm.
experienced, where then you're sitting on the couch for 3 months and you can't do anything. And I don't want you to
Yeah.
get to that place. Like that's what
Yeah.
we're preventing here.
Exactly. Oof. So
Yeah.
powerful. I love that rubber band analogy because I mean
Yeah.
that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
do stretch a lot. Like we just
Yeah.
balance. We're bouncing through,
Constantly.
work. We're bouncing the kids. We're
Hmm.
bouncing all the, if you're an entrepreneur too, you're bouncing to
Yeah.
that.
There's so
So
much.
much. So
And the thing
much.
is, like, again, like to reiterate, like, I want to do all those things. And I know you do
Yeah.
too. Like, it's like, I find so much like power might not be the right word, but just even satisfaction with like, I
Yes.
want to do all this, but we have to have the capacity.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so I want to do something fun to break
Huh?
it up again before we close. So I don't know if everyone knows this about me, but I love music. I love music. So I
Oh,
want to hear what your favorite song is right now, the one that's on repeat that someone can listen to today.
hold on. Let me,
Yes,
this
pull up
song
the
is in my
phone.
head. Let me make sure it's the right title. Oh my gosh. Dude, I feel like you're such a channel because as I'm talking to you, I'm just like getting all these downloads. Like, what is happening? Is it called I Am Here? Yeah. I Was Here by Beyonce.
Oh,
I
I
don't,
love
that's
that
literally, I
song.
haven't even listened to it for a little while,
Yeah.
but this is
Yeah.
what's coming through. Yeah.
Yes, that's the season. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I
Yeah.
feel like it's that song too that's like let me have a good cry in the
Yeah.
past. And so even that is like so powerful. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, the obvious one is like regulate your nervous system. But I mean, truly, like, just take care of you. Like, you're the person that you're going to live and die with. You're the person that you
Hmm.
have the longest relationship in your life with. And I'm like getting emotional as I say that, but like, you matter so much more than you
Mm.
know. And so we have to take care of ourselves so that we
Yeah.
don't, like, I just don't want you to go through life and get super burned out and not even enjoy your life. Like,
Oof.
yeah, we have to
That
take care of
to keep
ourselves.
going, keep achieving, but still you have to take care of
Yeah,
you.
enjoy it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Goodness. All right, Audrey, how can our listeners connect or work with you? I know you talked about the
Yeah.
Rise Sisterhood. Tell us all the things.
I would love to give everybody like a 2 week trial to the Rise Sisterhood, like
Yes.
because come in, do the like everything's there in a portal, and you can also join like the live calls, of course.
Hmm.
So, but we can put it in the show notes. But it's
Yes.
just helloaudreyrose.com/sisterhood, and right there when you sign up, you get the first 2 weeks for free. So, and you can
Oh,
always
amazing.
go in and cancel if you need to, but the 2 weeks are right there for free. And then of course Instagram, hello Audrey Rose. I'm right there.
Yes.
So just come and chat. I always love if you like need advice or if you're like, how do I do that thing? Come
Yeah.
chat. Like I got you. Like, yeah.
Yes. Audrey is, and I can attest to that. She always has my back. Always.
Thanks, girl.
All right,
Thank you.
y'all. Well, I hope that every single woman listening in today definitely feels a little bit more seen, a little bit more equipped with all that
Yeah.
Audrey has just shared with us, at least to even after you finish listening to this, go and implement one of those practices because I
Yeah.
promise you, like, we all need to be doing some type of nervous system regulation every single day, every single day. And y'all take a little bit more time to slow down so that
Yeah.
you can continue to show up. But y'all, I will see you on the next episode. Thank you, Audrey.